What's up? What's good, everybody? What's going on? I'm the guy, Eddie Charger. Thanks for coming back. We are doing another live seller call breakdown. We're going to see how well did they do. If you're catching us up on the series, make sure you catch up over here or wherever it's going to be. I don't know how you're looking at this thing. Anyway, let's get started. Today, I got a very good friend of mine, and I actually say one of my very best friends, who is a legend in the space. We're going to be doing another creative deal. Let's bring Mr. Pace Morby to the stage.
Just relaying what Mark said. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but that the seller finance deal has to do with that you'll pay for the equity in the house, which isn't really what you just described, right? Because
it depends on the seller. Sometimes if the seller doesn't have a lot of equity, right? So like, Sham, I didn't know how much equity you had until I asked you, right? So in some situations, Mark is correct, right? Let's say hypothetically, some sellers owe 1.5 million on their house and they want to sell it to me for 2 million. There's situations where I will come in with $500,000 in cash and pay off that equity because there's so much debt that I can take over. But because you have such a large amount of equity, that's a really challenging way for us to go, is to put up, that would essentially be 75% down payment or close to.
Yeah.
I would never do that deal because I could go down to Chase or, Loan Depot or whatever and put 30% down to buy the same asset, right?
All right, so face look funny. But this right here is really good because what Patience did is explain to him why I'm not going to bring a large down payment to the table. It doesn't even make any sense. And the way he did it was just make him go through the same thought process of like, think about it. Like, would you do that? That's actually a question I ask too. Like sometimes sellers might be like, well, I want 50% down. I'm like, well, I hear you. I mean, you're entitled to that. This is your house. I definitely believe that it's worth that value. But, in this particular market, even if I have to go to the bank, I'm only bringing 20% down. And that's at a high interest rate. So would you do a deal like that? Would you bring 50% down to something like this? You see what I'm saying? So you have to make it so that the seller ultimately feels somewhere along the call that it's you and the seller versus them, which is the situation or the market or whatever, or you, the seller, and the agent versus them. It's a us versus them thing.
And so for the velocity of our money, 75% down doesn't really work. However, there is another strategy that I'll throw out. Sometimes when we have sellers that have a lot of equity, what we will do is, let's say our purchase price is 2 million, hypothetically, okay? I'll go get a loan for 70% of the purchase. So that would work out to be $1.4 million. I bring $1.4 million to the table. That pays off your $600,000 loan. And then you get $800,000 remaining. And then you seller finance the back $600,000 of that in a second position seller carry. Hopefully that makes sense.
And for those of you who are a little bit more advanced, what he just explained here was basically a Morby method.
So essentially, I bring 70% down, pay off your debt, give you a large down payment, and then you seller finance a portion of your equity.
Right, but then if you default, I'm in second position, so I don't.
No, if you default, you take back over the house and you can sell it. It all comes down to the way that we structure it with the attorney and the closing, because we always go through a title company and we structure it through attorneys. Your attorney will be able to draft whatever they want, change whatever they want to make sure you're protected. And your second position is essentially, if I default, you become the owner again, right? You're not in second position. You're in first position. You're now the owner. The deed goes into your name. So you can turn around and resell that property, lease it out, and keep all the money I gave you as a down payment.
There's that voice again.
So Jenny, I mean, are you interested at 1.8, or because Mark said you were?
Essentially, yes, but it just depends.
So I want to break this down. Pace just explained this. He explained the the way that they're protected and et cetera, why did the seller go back to the cash offer? Why is he interested in seeing if they're willing to just do the cash offer at 1.8, which would be lower? And the reason is because obviously this is a new concept, right? A lot of times people who are, I mean, you guys do this, right? I know I do. Like if something is new, I don't necessarily, well, I'm kind of crazy. So I do rush to like try something new out. But there have been times where I'm like, slow down. Okay. Let's see what other options are available, especially if there's one that I'm already used to. Then I'd rather go with that than go with something that's like completely brand new, because I'm just like, well, there's so many what ifs and I'm not familiar. So, we want to make sure that we are going towards the path of least resistance, and learning something new, some new strategy, etc., is not that path. So right now, what he's going to try to do, I'm assuming, is go back and see if that cash is valid still. Like, can we put that back on the table? But if not, then you're running out of options, right? Especially if this is a house you don't want to sell. This is a house they don't need to sell, but they want to sell. A lot of times, investors or wholesalers or people will hear that and they'll think, oh, they're not really interested. No. It's the opposite. They just told you they don't need to sell it. They want to sell it. Pain, greed. I need to sell it. Pain. I want to sell it. Greed. If someone's not interested in selling, guess what? They hang up the phone. They're not spending a bunch of time talking to you about different ways that they can sell their house for whatever option price.
For me, I would use it as a corporate rental space. So it would be something where I either contract with the traveling nurses units and one of the agencies, and then we essentially make that what it would be. That's fine, but in that area, 1.8 at an all cash is a little steep because I know Woodland Hills back to front, so that area where you are, they're really around 1.5, 1.6. But it could be a deal. It just depends. I would really have to look at it from that angle. We were exploring all options first, and then seeing what we came up with.
Right.
But I'm not opposed to it. I mean, it's still out there.
Here's what I would suggest, Sham, is I would suggest maybe letting me put an email together with all the options, with the numbers. So I think your wife is maybe on speakerphone. That's what I heard in the background.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, how you doing?
Great. How about yourself?
I'm awesome. I love it when I have an audience because it's great. Because what I can do is I can send out an email, and then you two can review the whole email. It'll give you all the options, like option 1, 2, and 3 that we already presented. And then I can get with Jenny, and she can also throw out the cash offer as well in that email. And even if you say no to all 4, at least you guys can look at all 4 options in the email.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, at this point, it's like we weren't really looking to sell, like, selling our primary residence and then trying to go replace it with the same type of house is impossible at this point. So
it's tough for sure. You definitely got to have the motivation. A lot of times it's somebody's moving for a job opportunity, or they were already planning on moving, that's planning on doing the seller finance with us.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. And at least it's a good learning experience for everybody involved, right? So I can put an email together, let you guys take a look at it, and maybe in 2 months you change your mind. Maybe in 6 months you change your mind. Who knows, right? And at least we'll throw it out in front of you.
Well, we're gonna really at your Instagram videos and YouTube videos, and we're learning. We'll call you guys if we decide something, and maybe at that point you guys can put an email together.
Yeah, we'd love to.
So this was very interesting. I want to point something out. This was a very slight, but it was a position of power that you heard. So Pace has tried to end this call, what I would say twice now, by summing things up and saying, we'll send it over to you. You can take your time and this and that third. First, the gentleman came back and said, well, et cetera, which Pace replied saying the same thing, like, hey, let's just put this in a nice, pretty bow, send it over to you, and then, et cetera, et cetera. And then now you hear the wife saying, hey, well, we're learning, we're watching YouTube videos and this, that, and the third. So this is because what you got to understand, especially negotiating, a lot of times the person who walks away first actually wins, right? Like if you've seen like movies that have like negotiation scenes, maybe like a bank heist or something like that, right? Like you'll hear the person and be like, well, we want a chopper and we want this and that, and the negotiator would just like click, hang up on them. And everybody in there is like, what are you doing? Why did you do? And then all of a sudden you hear the phone ring again, right? It's the art of walking away. However, you have to learn when is the right time to do that. The only time you can do that is if and when you've presented all the things that you need to, and you know for a fact it's been received. And now you can start to say, okay, let's play the pull away game. Because when you play the pull away game, you reestablish your value in the setting or the scenario. So I hope that makes sense. If not, drop a question and something like that about it, and maybe I'll do another video for you to kind of break it down a little bit more, or even I can pull some examples of it.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, what you're saying, Jennifer, is that you weren't interested at one.
You see, he went back to the cash deal.
0.8. I mean, look, I understand what you guys are doing. I get you're trying to create leads and calling realtors like Mark and trying to drum up leads and whatnot. But Mark was saying you're interested at 1.8 and making an offer, correct, Mark?
I was saying that Jenny was interested at that price point. We just wanted to see it, get something set up to go see the property. And
yeah, so here's the other thing, Sean. I don't even know the condition of the property, right? So let's realistically talk, since that's what you want to do, because that just makes more sense for everybody. I don't know the condition of the property. I don't know if I need to just kind of tidy it up, or if I need to go in and do a full-on renovation, right? So I can't say, yes, Sean, I want to do 1.8 because essentially I don't know what I'm walking into. That's just the issue here. I'm not saying I'm opposed to 1.8. No, we're not just kind of looking around for leads. That's not it. If you're willing to sell, then obviously I'm willing to buy, but I don't know what I'm walking into. So I don't want you to say, oh, well, Jenny, you said 1.8 after I see your house. And I'm like, oh, well, no, I only can do 1.4. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just have to see the whole scheme of things from a bird's eye view, put it all together, make sure it all makes sense for me as the buyer, because you as the seller, you have your price that you want to pay, which is fine. I mean, my husband and I, before we moved from Atlanta, we were dead set on $230,000. And the guy was like, well, once he came in, he saw that we needed stainless steel appliances, and a few things. And he was like, well, for me as the buyer, it's not realistic because I need to go in and do a little bit more.
All right. So I get what she is trying to do here. However, I don't like it. It's too all over the place. It's not streamlined. Like, for example, right now she's giving a story. She's telling an example of when she sold her house, but she didn't give any backdrop. So it takes a couple of seconds to figure out that she's talking about her house that she was trying to sell before she moved from Atlanta. And then when she responded, it was a tad bit combative, right? It was like, not combative, it was more so being on the defensive side, which I understand because the gentleman kept saying, like, so what are you saying? You don't want to do the 1.8, the second, third? And she could have easily responded like, yeah, we could possibly do the 1.8. But here's the thing. I think what Pace is offering is a little bit better than my offer, just to be honest with you, because he's willing to be able to purchase it as is and can pay more for the property because he's going to pay it on terms. Whereas if I'm paying cash, I'm going to be really hard on as is value. And I haven't taken a look at the property yet to see it face to face and have my contractors and inspectors go by. So if it's as HGTV as it could possibly be, then yeah, I could possibly do 1.8 after I take a look at it. But if it's not, I am going to have to come through with a red pen and a fine comb to figure out what's this thing actually worth and buy it at its as is value than anything else. So yes, I can give you the cash 1.8 if it's in spitball perfect condition. But if not, it's going to be lower. again, I think Pace offer, just listening to it, sounds like it could possibly be better than what I'm offering because he can actually buy it as is because of that. Does that make sense? And I always, no matter the easiest way to not come off combative is no matter what you say, always end it with a question. So I always say, does that make sense? Or I try not to say stuff like, do you get me? Because that could come off like if you're not hip or cool or whatever, like that might be a little bit too thing to your ear. But people have been hearing the phrase, does that make sense, since school days. So me saying it comes off and making sure that my tonality is on point when I say it, that comes off a whole lot cleaner, smoother, more familiar than anything else.
Than a touch up. I need to, get new appliances. And he put it into a perspective for me where I put myself in his shoes. So right now I'm asking you to put yourself in my shoes, saying, no, we're not just, yanking you around here. We definitely really want to put in an offer. I just need you to put yourself in my shoes for a second. Would you go into a house and say, or to a deal right now, verbally, because I'm a person about my word. I don't want to verbally say something to you, and then I change it up. So for you, let's say you were me, would you say, hey, Jenny, yeah, I'll give you 1.8, and you haven't even seen the condition of the house, Sean? Would that make sense?
Look at Pace's face. Now, I don't know if he's laughing at this or not, but again, I understand where her head was, where her heart might be, but it's just she did like 4 different tactics at one time. It's all over the place. I'm actually interested to see how he responds. Right? I don't know his wife or her personality yet. She hasn't spoken that much for me to be able to gauge, but I can probably assume she is not amused either.
Of course not. But...
Right. So that's all I'm saying. Like, it's not that I'm opposed.
And then you see, he wasn't even done his thought, and she jumped in because she's not trying to be rude, but she's trying to double down on the idea because he agreed. You see, does that make sense? I just did it.
I just don't know what I'm walking into.
Right. I know I get that, but that's not what Mark said yesterday. That's let's.
Well, Mark said, what.
All right, and so now we're going back and forth, and this is, I don't know what this is. This is going down in flames. It's a shit show at this point.
Him and I discussed, which was, yes, Mark, if everything checks, my boxes check off, I can do 1.8 all cash all day. That's not an issue. But Mark and I also discussed that we haven't seen the property besides, like one photo of the front. That was it. I didn't see anything else. But for me, it works. I mean, I love the house. I love Woodland Hills. It's a great area. I make, a lot of money in Woodland Hills with, my corporate rentals. So I trust me, I'm wanting to see the house, possibly purchase the house, but we just wanted to give you all options just in case. So again, don't feel like I'm opposed to the cash offer. I am not. I just want to see the condition of it so that all parties are comfortable. That's it. It's not that that's off the table at all.
Right. No, I get that.
Yeah.
It was framed a little bit differently than what we're talking about.
So when you say framed a little bit differently, Sham, does that mean that Mark told you that Jenny's going to pay all cash 1.8 and she doesn't want to see the house?
No, he didn't say
that.
that.
Okay, yeah, because that's the only thing here. I mean, everything is still the same.
No, here's the difference. What we told him was that we would not sell the house for less than that because there's no reason to, right? We're paying property taxes based on 2009. Like, if you came in to buy this house right now with 20% down, the payment would be more than double what we're paying for it right now. So there's really no reason for us to sell it, right? We have no incentive to sell it. We're not in a position where we need to sell the house. So
okay,
that's just the, Mark. He did his good follow up from our conversation from 4 or 5 months ago, whenever it was. We gave him a number that we'd be interested in selling it at months ago before interest rates spiked to where they are now. Now it's like a completely different situation, right?
It is, yes.
Most people are not listing their houses right now because there's no reason to.
Okay, got it.
That's just the reality. If we were in a different situation, then then maybe, like we would think about it, but we're not. So
Okay, yeah. I mean, I thought the purpose for you getting on the call was that you guys were interested in selling. My apologies.
no,
I didn't know that.
we're interested in selling at one point.
Right, but I already went over all that to you, and you still said, "Oh well," you're still saying what Mark said. I'm just okay. Got it.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. You need to see the house. I mean, anybody would want to see a house before they buy it, and that's fine. If you want to see the house, this is what we need. We need proof. I mean, he sent over a bank statement, but we need a proof of funds letter from you, like signed by your banker at Wells Fargo, along with the statement at the same time, and then we'll show you the house.
Okay. Well, we're good. If you guys are not interested in selling, I'm not going to go the extra mile to try to. I don't want to make you sell. So it's all good.
Extra mile.
That's your extra mile. What are you talking about?
No. What I'm saying is, if I feel like right now we're like going through a song and dance to just see the house, and it just, for me, it just, I'm.
Wait, excuse me. Wait a minute. A song and dance is not reality. The reality is our house isn't listed.
Okay.
Mark told us that he has a buyer for $1.8 million, all cash, with another option for seller financing at.
This is pure gold. Pure gold. But I do want to point something out. This is reality. You do have breakdowns that take place like this. Sometimes it happens much earlier in the call. This is part of the game. And if you are looking to get in this game and you're not willing to get your ass kicked like this, get out. This is not for you. This is not for the weak. Get out now. You understand me? Because you need these ass whippings. You need at least 1,000 of them so that you can get your skills, your reps up, this, that, and third. There's a famous line one of my early mentors had taught me. He said, you can't unmotivate a motivated seller, right? The full quote is, you can't motivate a unmotivated seller, and you can't unmotivate a motivated seller. So if you could be saying all the wrong things, if that person needs to sell their house, they're gonna help you get your shit together so they can sell this house. Period. That's it, right? Now, if a person is like not motivated to sell the house, it doesn't. I'll give you the world. I don't want to sell my house. Keep the world. I don't want it. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta have that thought process in mind. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. You got there's a country song. Wow, I can't believe I remember this. This is a country song back in the day by Kenny Rogers called "You Got to Know When to Fold Them." Playing Texas poker. So look that song up next time. Anytime you get your butt kicked on a song, go play that song. You're gonna love it.
At a higher number.
Yep.
We're not listing the house anyway.
Okay.
So all I'm asking for is if you want to see the house, if you're committed to seeing the house because you're interested in it,
yes,
then we would want proof of funds letter to show you the house. And
okay. Yeah, well, that's fine.
Interested in doing that, that's fine. Like, it's not a big deal to us. So,
Can I jump in for just a second, guys?
Sure.
Go ahead.
The reality is, I think Mark, probably in the haste of running a business and doing all the things he did, I think that there was a unrealistic expectation on both parties. And so the friction that we're feeling on this call is actually not people being upset with each other. It's just that there was probably a little bit of haste. So there's no negativity here at all. And Sham, you guys are correct. You weren't listing the property. You're not hyper motivated to sell your property, but you're open to it at least if it's at one.
Golly, he's so good. This is a really good job of being a peacemaker by first saying, hey, nobody's to blame. And then now saying, hey, seller, you're absolutely correct. That way, no one's feelings get hurt. But more importantly, you make the seller feel extra special. Why? Because you are trying to serve them. It's about them. You should be making them feel extra special. It doesn't even matter if this deal goes through. I have no idea. But it doesn't matter. Make the seller feel special. This whole entire thing is what I call the Rocky Balboa story, right? If you ever watch any of the Rocky movies, you know the movie is about Rocky. He's the hero. Okay, so if this is the same scenario, who is Rocky in this? Is it me as a buyer? No. It's the seller. I need the seller to feel like a hero. If they don't feel like a hero when they're selling me their home, we're going to have seller's remorse. We're going to have like all types of crazy things is going to take place. Don't do that. Make sure your goal is to, how can I serve this seller? I know I'm buying the house. I know I'm going to make money. I'm going to do all these great things. But I need to make sure that the seller absolutely loves the fact that I'm able to come in and help solve a problem or a challenge or give them something that they want or give them something that they need in order to make them the hero.
0.8. And so your argument there is, hey, I know it's not normal for a buyer to come in with a proof of funds letter for all cash before they see the property. But in this situation, you're calling for it because your house wasn't listed. And on Jenny's side, I know as a real estate investor, I would never spend the time to send over a proof of funds on something that I was trying to buy before I sold it. Or I'm sorry, before I got into a contract or I was going to submit an actual offer. Because we look at so many properties that the rigmarole of actually providing proof of funds and getting our banker to sign something that's up to date takes hours of time. And so Jenny's immediate knee-jerk reaction is, that's not normal. But the reality is what you're asking for in this specific situation as actually is really called for. And if you guys want a proof of funds, we'd be happy to show you a proof of funds, get it signed by our banker. And it's not out of the ordinary for this specific situation.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel it's realistic as well too. I apologize if I ever mischaracterize anything, but
No.
I feel for what Sean was asking. I mean, if we can provide that, and if you guys are okay, Pace and Jenny providing that,
Of course,
yes.
Mark. And
that'd
Mark,
be very
even Mark, you didn't do anything wrong. You know how many times I've miscommunicated just because I was going from one call to another, or
This guy, Pace, man. Do you see how he just made everybody took a little bit of blame and everybody got boosted up a little bit, right? Like, oh, it's okay. It's not really your fault, right?
I was going in the grocery store and my kid was barking at me about they want some macaroni and cheese or something. So, bro, you did nothing wrong. This is just a bunch of adults trying to work out a deal or figure out that there is no deal here.
So this is something that I do with my kids, right? So, and when I say my kids, I mean like my nieces, nephews, like all of them, right? If let's say we in the house and they're like going at it, just like, I'm like, why are you guys still arguing? I don't understand. I would go get one of my shirts and I would put it on both of them, and they both would have to keep the shirt on. So if they were going to argue, they were going to argue this close from each other, right? And then on top of that, I made them hug for like 5 minutes until they figure out, why are we still arguing? Like, this is stupid, right? So this is the exact same thing I feel like here. Pace put everybody in a big shirt. Everybody calm down. Let's hug it out. We all love each other. Let's move on.
That's it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Sham, can you guys wait till maybe late Monday afternoon? We'll get you. I could send you a bank statement, but if you want one signed by my banker, it's going to take me probably all day long to get his attention to sit down, sign it, and then like scan it over. So if you give us till tomorrow afternoon, I'd love to provide that for you.
Yeah, but I thought Jennifer would be providing that because she's the one that's on the agreement.
Her
right?
and I partner. I'm the financial backer of a lot of things that we do. So I'm the one that has a tremendous amount of money sitting in the bank account. So showing a proof of funds.
No, Pacey does have my bank statement.
He does have yours too?
He
Okay.
sees exactly what's in there.
So he just wants to get a signature from your banker.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it'll just need to be probably towards the end of the day, right? So if you guys could wait till the end of the day, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's fine. We're in no rush, so.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys' time.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Pace, really appreciate it, Pace. Thank you, Sean.
All right, so that's the end of that one. That was a doozy. Shout out to Pace for doing such a great job. And this call, I don't know how it ends. I don't think they get this under contract. But also, when it's greed, when the seller is selling for greed, it has to actually make sense for them, or it's not going to make sense for them, right? If it's pain, then even if it didn't make sense for them, they're a little bit more motivated to sell because they're like, I got to figure something out. This is one of those scenarios where it just doesn't pan out that way, which is all good. And personally, I hope you guys have a bunch of these calls, because these are the calls that make you become better at understanding. And hopefully, after watching this video, you learn to pay attention to a couple of key things that you don't have to go through the same thing. So how did I do? How did Pace do? I thought Pace did amazing. This was great. There's a couple of things I would have did different or handled different, but when the GOAT's doing what the GOATs do. Tune in later next time. We'll have more videos like this. And if you have any questions, or put next who you want me to critique, and I'll get at them. Peace. Stay charged up.